Hello, welcome to Provoking Safety. My name's Kevin Barrett. I'm a health and safety professional. You know what? New worker orientations are important. I'm not going to waste a lot of time with a long introduction. I want to get right into it. I want to talk about the importance of new worker orientations and why they're important to you, and I'm going to do it in 5 minutes or less. So let's get started. Point number 1, compliance with the legislation. You know what? Most jurisdictions have wording that states that the worker has to receive an orientation regarding the health and safety practices of the workplace prior to starting any work. Let's look at a couple of examples. In BC, the wording is this: an employer must ensure that before a young or new worker begins work in a workplace, the young or new worker is given health and safety orientation and training specific to that young or new worker's workplace. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful. In Alberta, it's worded close. Every employer shall ensure that workers are adequately trained in all manners necessary to protect the health and safety, or protect their health and safety, including before the worker begins performing a work activity. Ontario has said something very similar. Employers are required to provide supervision, information, and instruction to all workers, including new and young workers, on how to protect the health and safety in the workplace. Pretty simple stuff, right? If you think about it, it's following the law, and it's simple. It's laid out very simple. Before they begin any work, make sure they're aware of their health and safety needs. Anyway, point 2, I want to make it a bit more personal. How about the financial hit to your bottom line? You know what? Occupational health and safety legislation non-compliance, the fines for it, the punitive actions are increasing year over year. They're over $500,000 now for the maximum cases in most jurisdictions. But, and you know what, I'm going to talk about some fines that have been levied in recent times. $150,000, $125,000. Yes, these are all expensive. However, let's consider some additional costs. The cost of legal defense, the cost of hiring third parties to look into things, not to mention lost time for lost production, for investigation, rectifying stop work orders, replacement workers, other soft costs, and insurance costs such as insurance premiums going up, including workers' compensation. Your job as an organization isn't necessarily to maximize profit, it's to minimize loss. Look at that and consider that. Loss is effectively minimized through good training for workers, and that includes new worker safety orientations. This brings me to point 3, negative social risk or negative impact on the social risk. Social risk arises from negative perceptions of an organization's impact on the community. Now, these kinds of impacts can include negative human rights issues, labor unrest, internal corruption in an organization, environment issues, etc. However, one big one too is occupational health and safety non-compliance. It begins to hit home for a lot of reasons, but let's look at some examples. Here's one. A company was fined after a propane worker caught fire. The propane company was fined $150,000 after a mishap in which a man caught fire and was seriously injured. Now, innocuous headlines, really, when you get right down to it. However, the articles go on to name the organization and that they failed as an employer, because that's what the legal term is, to provide information, instruction, and supervision to a worker to protect the health and safety of that worker. It also goes on to talk about how the injured worker had just started working for the company a month ago, and that worker had only received 1 day of online training in the first week of employment. Doesn't look good for the company. Another case is a construction company in Ontario. Now, the worker unfortunately died. The company was fined $125,000, but when the article goes on to talk about the findings of the investigation, and here's some wording. An investigation revealed that the excavator operator was not familiar with the full safety checking procedures set out in the user's manual for the machinery. It was noted that the manual was in English and the operator did not speak English. These are things that would have been easily discovered had a good new hire safety orientation taken place, and it could have meant getting a translated manual for the worker, etc. In closing, 3 reasons why a new worker safety orientation needs to be a priority in your organization. Number 1, compliance with the legislation. It's the law. We have to obey it. That's what we have to do. Protecting the bottom line by minimizing loss through best practices, and that includes good, thorough new worker safety orientations. And 3, protecting your social standing in the community by demonstrating genuine compassion and goodwill for the employees by doing a good new hire safety orientation. In short, if you're not doing this already, you should start. And if it isn't one of your organizational priorities, maybe it's time for a review and maybe resetting your priorities a bit. Thank you very much for taking the time. I did it in under 5 minutes. Do me a favor, if you like the content, click that like button. If you didn't, by all means, hit that unlike button. But do me a favor, let me know why. Leave a comment. If you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button. Ding the bell. You'll get notified of new content. Do me a favor until we talk again next time. Think safety, talk safety, do safety, provoke it at home and in the workplace. Take care. Bye for now.